Why relationship talks doesn't work most of the time. There are people who managing to go through difficult parts in their marriage and fix it because they really want to fix it. But a lot of people, they're not capable of doing it because they don't want strong enough to change something. They're not willing to change themselves to begin with. And obviously there is no sort of like clear understanding how to resolve the issue. I think this is the main thing. I remember one of my friends that married for many years and divorced, and apparently she told her husband many times why she wasn't happy, why she asked him to change, not to do certain thing, but he would ignore, and over time led to separating from each other. Although afterwards he fell on the knees, tried to cry his eyes out, and tried to get her back, but didn't work out. So there's a lot of times these type of dramas going on. Men begging for their wives to sort of like stay and not to leave them, but in reality they had enough. If you want effectively to resolve the issue, you have to sit down, assess what the problem is, who is not doing what's supposed to do, and then come to conclusion. We give 2 times. We give a go. And if we fail, that means we had enough. It's time to depart. It has to be consequences of not delivered action. You can't talk 10 times, 20 times the same thing. It will never work. It must be consequences for what you decided to achieve. If you fail to achieve, that means it's not enough desire to get the result. And then you can depart very simply and peacefully. But the problem is, you can be having, maybe you created some kind of wealth in your life, and you've got children and everything, and it's not as easy as it might sound. I understand. But what do you win? I remember when I was playing with my friends basketball, and my father and my grandmother, I used to live at that time with them, they did drink on that day, and I didn't want to go home because I knew they were drinking. There's a lot of children don't want to go home because you're not getting on, or you don't love each other. Although maybe there are not many arguments in the house, you try not to show or argue in front of the children. They feel the atmosphere and they don't want to go home, but they don't tell you what it is. You're doing more damage to your children living not in love, but sort of like living for the children, rather than separating and loving children separately in different way. That will be better for children, because more peaceful environment, and on both sides, on mother side and father side, if you take care of the children like with all your best ability, they will be more happier that way, rather than living in an unhappy family.